Call to order is February Scott County School Board meeting, and we're going to stand for a moment of silence and talk about the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank everybody for coming out tonight. And we have one item to add to the agenda for tonight. Under Superintendent Report, item L is for informational purposes. It's for ESSER 3 School Division Award for addressing unfinished learning before and after school programs and summer programs. So I'll be under Superintendent Report 7L. And we have a little readout on that too. John had us out after the meeting. So if y'all don't have anything else, need a motion for approval of agenda.
Make a motion.
Got a motion from Mr. Sally and a second by Mr. McConnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, approval of minutes. Our last meeting was January the 4th, just a regular monthly meeting. Y'all had a chance to look at the meeting minutes. Have any questions on that?
Make a motion we approve as presented.
Got a motion by Mr. McConnell,
Second.
second by Mr. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, approval of claims. I don't have any particular question of any of our bills for this past month. I'll make a motion to approve approval of the claims.
Second.
A second from Mr. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. All right, public comment. Anybody wish to address the board at this time? All right. Moving right along, we'll hand it over to Mr. Ferguson for superintendent report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Virginia School Board Association has recognized the month of February as School Board Appreciation Month. If you don't mind, I'm going to lay this down so you maybe hear me a little plainer. But we just want to say thank you to our members for everything you do for our students, for our school community in its entirety. And I have a certificate here to recognize each of you. And again, February is the month in which we recognize the school board members. I want to begin with our chairman, Mr. David Templeton. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Our vice chairman, Mr. Steve Salley. Thank you. Ms. Gillenwater represents the 3rd District, not here with us tonight, but we want to congratulate her as well. From our 4th District, we have Mr. Houserath. Thank you. Thank you. 5th District, we have Mr. McConnell. And from the 6th District, we have Mr. Hood. Thank you. Thank you again. Let's give these gentlemen and lady a round of applause, please. We also have a recognition, and the week of February 14th through 18th has been designated as School Board Clerk and Deputy Clerk Appreciation Week. I'm very grateful to these ladies because they keep a record of the business and what transpires at our school board meetings, not for present, but also future use whenever folks will go back and if they want to look at what the school board actually did at each of the meetings. So I want to recognize our clerk, Ms. Kim Henderson, and our deputy clerk, Sherry Christian. Thank you. In your packet, you will find an agreement with Appalachian Volleyball Officials Association. This is for 3 years. And this was sent to me, which I shared with each of you. It does provide the rates of the game assignment, whether it's varsity, junior varsity, or middle school. Unless there's any particular questions, I ask your approval of the agreement as presented.
Make that motion.
A motion from Mr. Sally,
Second.
and a second from Mr. McConnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. The next item we have is amendment to the 2021-22 school operating budget. You will see on the cover letter there, we have made many applications for various things, whether it's through ESSER 3 funds, 21st Century, and school security grants. You will see on that cover sheet there the date in which we are informed that we were recipients of the grant and the amount, and of course a brief description of the particular grant itself. And like all the other grant monies that we receive, we can only get reimbursement when we spend these out. So again, these do operate are entirely all grant monies. These are not upfront monies as some may speculate. And these are for various programs. And if you notice the last, and we were waiting on it, it's usually announced well before now, but the school security grant, we weren't notified till the end of December. But in all of these grants, it totaled about $1,379,690. So that has been factored into the amended budget on the expenditure revenue as well as the expenditure end. Does anyone have any particular questions in regards to the amendments made within the budget? If not, I ask your approval of the amendments to the 2021-22 school operating budget as presented.
Make the motion. Second.
Got a motion from Mr. McConnell, a second from Mr. Sally. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you. Next item we have is Scott County Public Schools School Nutrition Safety Plan. Ms. Frazier shared this with me. It is a large document, and she said that we need to have this in place or updated. And unless there's any particular questions in regards to this plan, I ask your approval as presented.
I'll make that motion.
A motion from Mr. Housewright.
Second.
Got a second from Mr. McConnell. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next item we have, we were just notified of this not too long ago, is the American Rescue Plan Act. It's the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. this announcement. We've often referred to it as the governor's HVAC grant application. And if you look through the documentation, here it does list the projects that we would like to begin work on just as soon as possible. These will probably, for the most part, will begin during next fiscal year. But I wanted to share that with you, that we were approved for $684,509. Of course, we have to match that as well, and we will use funds that we've had to take away from some of our ESSER 2 and ESSER 3 monies. We'll have to make some adjustment to meet that local match. But Mr. Sally is with us tonight. If you have any particular questions in regards to some of the projects that we would like to work on for the upcoming school year.
This is like the other grants, we put the money up and then we get it back as we spend it?
Yes, sir.
So you won't have to spend 1.3 or whatever, just be 600 something, right?
We will, in essence, have to spend out not only this money, but monies from the previous 2 grants. So in essence, we'll get every bit of it back, yes. We'll have to put the money up front, but we will be able to receive it back.
You can take up to what year, was it 2024 or something like that on this?
Yes, sir. Yes, this was the one I went and asked the Board of Supervisors if they would help us out.
I said no.
I didn't get any response, yay or nay.
All right.
Just kind of went away.
So we take that out of our other money, right?
Yes, sir. We're having to balance this with other ESSER 2 and 3 funds to get that match.
Ron, how much, kind of efficiency do gas broilers have compared to coal? And what's the difference in the price of using coal versus gas and everything? Or where we headed with that? Because I see where we're changing out a couple of those.
I don't have any exact figures on that. The best reference that I have for that is when we did the performance contracting project, which started back in 2014. And at that time, we was using coal at Dungannon Intermediate School, and we switched to LP gas there at Dungannon. And there was just, at that time, we was averaging in the range of $5,500 a year at Dungannon on our coal usage. And in the beginning of that, at that time, we ran about another $1,000 a year in LP gas.
But gas is going up, right? I mean,
It is, and coal is going up too.
I know, but that's what I wonder,
Yeah.
because I see we're replacing all that.
But, you know, this year was a year that we had a hard time getting coal. We actually went through, we went to a third person to be able to get coal. The first 2 ended up canceling out and couldn't supply our coal order. And so that's becoming harder to get. And with what we're looking at on some of the future projects there, those systems, of course, will take us away from the use of coal in some of our schools. And I have about 5 jobs there that I'm prioritizing that I've discussed with Mr. Ferguson. And if we get those jobs in, then that'll eliminate 4 schools, 4 coal usage schools there. The other 3 that we have is going to be quite a challenge to move over to another, product. But in the long run, that's probably what to be where we're headed at, because of if coal keeps going where it's at right now.
So we still have 7 buildings that uses coal?
Yes, sir. Got 3 of them that are steam, and that's one of the reasons that they're a little bit more of a challenge. And just because of the systems where you can't necessarily convert as easily there. So the schools that we've targeted to get rid of first is some of the oldest buildings as far as the hot water usage. And because of your descaling and stuff like that on the interior side of the piping and everything, deterioration of the piping, that's one of the reasons that I've chose to go that direction first. And then also the cost. The cost is going to be a lot greater on the other schools.
Then you save on getting rid of the ash and all that too, right? Is that a lot of?
Well, that's been another challenge for this year with our, with Bristol landfill going through what they've been through. And at this time, I don't have a place for that at this time, but that's something that I've got to get in, working with Department of Environmental Quality to see what my options will be in that. We're storing them on school sites now.
Storing ash on school side?
Correct, yeah. We've always done that as a temporary
Take it out.
movement before we get them mixed.
But that'll be some more cost you don't have to. When you go to gas, you won't have to
Correct.
incur that cost and trying to store it somewhere and all that.
And paying to have it hauled off to us. And what we had going with Bristol City landfill was significantly cheaper than any of our other options whenever we went through that road in the beginning a few years ago. Significantly cheaper. So it's going to be pretty expensive this time.
Yeah, I got problems.
Any other questions?
Thank you, ma'am.
No, on behalf of the maintenance department, I'd like to say thanks to every one of you for what you do and the support that you give to the school system and the maintenance department. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, Robert. In your package, you will see a vaccination booster schedule for the Pfizer booster. This will be available for students 12 years and older. Just want to provide that in there for you. And the schedule is presented there as well. Next item we have is approval of the Head Start financial report. This is a preliminary December 2021 financial report. Unless there's any particular questions in regards to this, I ask your approval as presented.
Make that motion.
Motion from Mr. Sally, second from Mr. Hood. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Next item we have is the section criteria. This was approved by the Head Start Policy Council. Enrollment criteria priorities for students for the 2022-23 school year. Unless there's any particular questions in regards to this document here, enrollment criteria document, I ask your approval as presented.
Make the motion.
Motion from Mr. McConnell,
Second.
second from Mr. Housewright. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
The next item we have is for informational purposes. This is the Head Start Director's Report for January 2022. Does anyone have any questions in regards to the Director's Report? Next item we have is the Head Start COVID-19 vaccination and universal masking policy. Unless there's any particular questions in regards to this document, I ask your approval as presented.
Is that masking still in, even with the governor, what the governor recommended, is it still in or not?
They tend to follow more of the federal guidelines because it is a federal program.
Correct. So this would, technically, the federal program takes precedence over the governor's order. So Head Start has to abide by what's sent down from Philadelphia, their local office, which
We want to
says,
emphasize that real hard when they start rolling. But it will change pretty soon, though, I'm thinking. I don't know if it will or not.
Again, this is for Head Start.
I'll make the motion.
Motion from Mr. Sally, I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And the last item I have, we just received this information here in regards to the ESSER 3 American Rescue Plan Act. These were originally established as set-aside funds, which addresses unfinished learning, before and after school programs, and summer programs. We did make application for this. In the initial application, we kind of asked for everything, but in reality, we were approved for $513,130.08. I just wanted to share that with you in addition to all the other grants that we have made applications for. Does anyone have any particular questions in regards to this last announcement here?
I'd like to say I guess before I got on board, a lot of people's telling me you don't apply for all these, and I keep seeing this more and more. Not being pushed on us, but we do fill it out, and we do get rewarded for it, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Tim. These grants are kind of one in a lifetime, I guess, experience, but we have tried. Good head. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, this is all that I have. Thank you.
All right, my understanding, we need to go into a closed meeting.
Yes, I move we enter into closed meeting to discuss candidates for employment and assignment and performance of teachers, teaching assistants, coaches, nurses, custodians, and school resource officers as provided in section 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia as amended.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried, we'll adjourn for a while.